Alright, what's up everybody? We are currently leaving the mall. I came here because I was starving, because I actually haven't eaten in a couple of days for some reason. I'm eating a whole bunch of nothing. Anyway, I got off work, ran and got the bike tuned by Smurf. Shout out Smurf. Smurf's Garage on IG. Went and got the bike tuned, so this thing is kind of unlocked at this point, and the pops and everything I'm getting out of it is really, really crazy. You'll probably be able to hear it during the video. You just have to pay attention, but anyway. Here, I'll give you. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but it's really, really popping, bro. It sounds like it blowing up. Anyways, so I went and did that. A cool dude. I hadn't actually met Smurf before. He's got a crazy H2. If you ever seen him on IG or anything, he's got an insane H2, bro. Anyway, cool ass dude. Met up with him. They knocked the tune out for me. And I was there for an hour or two, and then came over here to the mall. I rode around with it for a minute just to kind of see how it feels. It feels a little different, a lot more responsive, a lot more smooth, to be honest. It's really nice. I've never had obviously I'm new to riding, so I've never really known what it's like to have your bike tuned or what kind of changes it makes, but it's nice. It's smooth and stuff, so I don't know, I really enjoy it. I also cut off traction control, so I don't know, the bike just feels very raw, but I'm enjoying it. Anyway, I'm about to just cruise probably back to the crib and call it a night. I'm pretty tired for whatever reason. Anyway, I was gonna talk about my egg. So in the previous video, I'm pretty sure, I haven't released it yet, but it's a video about Valentine's. Look at this guy, he's trying to get over and not let me get over, you weirdo. Oh my gosh, bro, it sounds like a freaking gunshot. In the previous video, the one that I just recorded, I opened up a little bit about my dad and a little bit about her as well, just to kind of, give y'all a little sneak peek of what I'm talking about in terms of her and, that whole thing. So I was kind of talking about, so I had moved down to San Antonio to go to college there and to live with my dad. Obviously that didn't work out and everything. So I met her there while I was in school. Let's clean this 18-wheeler off. Here. There we go. I'll be acting a fool in traffic, I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, so I met her at college, right? So I was, whoa, buddy. So I met this girl at college, right? My ex. We met in drawing class. I was taking a drawing class just because I enjoy art, to be honest with you. And I was gonna take the class because I just was taking basic classes. So that was one of my electives or something. See, why are you getting over when there's a truck right there? Bro, you're gonna just hit this guy, not even me. So I took a drawing class as an elective because I just was you just take electives for whatever in college. So I took it as an elective. And this is where I met her. So her and her friend were, I don't even think it was actually her friend. It was just some girl she kind of met too. Anyway, there's these two girls that we were just I was cool with both of them. The only ones I was really cool with in the art class. And throughout the year, I just kind of got to know her and whatnot. And that's kind of how we just kind of hit it off. And then one day, I guess she was dating somebody at the time. I didn't really know. She also had got everybody's Snapchats. And one day she was like, oh, let me get all y'all Snapchats or whatever. I would post on my story and she would swipe up and say something. And up until this point, let me just say, I didn't really talk. I had talked to girls in high school and stuff, but it had been a while since I had really taken anybody serious. You know what I mean? And also, I didn't post anything and usually get any comments from anybody else. Not when I posted, people were just saying, anything to what I posted. It's just I just posted the post. And most of the time I wouldn't even post, because it was nobody's gonna say anything, so what's the point, Anyway, dude, it's pop, 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 pop. So I would post on my story and she would swipe up and say something. So I was oh, okay, this girl. I didn't know if she was taking an interest in what I was doing, if she was super friendly. That's when I met her, she was super, super friendly, bro. And so it was kind of it was one of those things you kind of can't tell, is this girl just like that and she's just friendly? Or is she actually into you? And it was kind of like that for a little bit. But I was just you know what, I'll be friend. So I tried to run the best friend the boy best friend to boyfriend route on her. That's what I was trying to do. I wouldn't do that nowadays, but in my inexperience and in my youth, that's what I was doing. I was like, you know what? If I'm friends with this girl, we get to know each other, we probably will hit it off, and I'll be into her like that. And she'll be into me like that, should I say. Anyway, I just kind of would post, she would say something, right? And so we kind of acclimated, we started chit-chatting. Well, it got toward the end of my first year, because I met her the first year. So it got toward the end of it, and we were actually kind of like really chit-chatting a little bit, and we had like this art show, and I was like, I'm not gonna go, but I was like, oh, I'll go if you go. And she was like, yeah, I'll go. And so we went together to this art show, not on like no datey stuff, like it was really just like, you know, we'll just go together, you're cool, you know, whatever. It wasn't like a date or nothing. I don't think either one of us kind of viewed it like that. Anyway, we go to this art show together, and we end up spending like the whole entire art show like hanging out and stuff. This is the first time actually hanging out, right? I had never hung out with her outside of class or anything. So so we hang out the whole time, and then afterwards, you know, it was like we were having a good time, and it was like, oh, I don't want to just go home, which to me is like always like, okay, this is cool. Like if we really want to still hang out, then, you know, that means there's a little more than just like a whatever connection there, you know what I mean? We were like, oh, well, you know, we can go get food. So we went and got food, bro. We were just chit-chatting and chopping it up. I don't remember what time the art show was or nothing. It's been so long at this point, but we just ended up hanging out for a long time, bro, having a good time. And then like that night I freaked out, bro, because I was like, oh, like I have feelings for this girl, bro. And I hadn't had feelings for somebody, and I don't even really, I want to say ever at that point, because I had never taken any other girl like actually serious, you know what I mean? And up until that point, like that first year in college, I was so lonely, bro. So I was just having a hard time with everything. So to go from like having nobody to talk to and being super lonely to like meeting her and having that kind of be what it was kind of a shock to my system, you know what I mean? Anyway, so I started falling for her, and I was like really like torn up about it. I remember calling my mom and like, I don't know, I don't remember if I was crying or what, but I was, that makes me sound like such a, like a, I'm not gonna cuss, but that just makes me sound like so lame, bro. Like I was crying. I don't think I was crying. Anyway, I was kind of tripping. My whole point was because I caught feelings, and I was like, bro, what is this? Like, why do I feel this way about this girl first time we ever hung out? But dude, I was like, fell for her so hard, bro. Like, it's hard for me to even kind of remember it, because it's just so sad to me that it didn't work out because of just how infatuated I was by this girl. But we hung out, right? And then after that, we started to try to kind of hang out more. And we did a little bit, like, I don't think she had a boyfriend at that time. She had just broken up with her boyfriend, though. I do know that much. And so we kind of hung out like every now and again. I think we only hung out like 2 or 3 more times toward the end of the year, because that art show was at the very end of the year. So it was time to kind of, it was really time to go back. Like the school year was getting to be over with. So it was really just, we're going to both go, you know, into the summer or whatever. And I was moving back home because, well, actually I didn't know what I was doing at that point in time. So that's kind of where it was. It became a dilemma for me, because I was like, well, I don't want to go back home. Like I'm in love with this girl. I don't want to go back home. Like, that's going to suck, right? But I ended up moving back home, and we hung out like a couple times before I moved out. And like the very last time we hung out, when, you know, we both knew I was going to move back home, it was like super emotional, bro. She cried. I ended up crying. So like we had this like special little connection between us. And it was honestly like, I think we both kind of knew we were friends and whatnot, but I feel like there was probably a little more there. But that whole summer, so I went back home for the summer. I got a job working like as a plumber's apprentice, because my stepdad is a plumber. So I was just working with him, and then I ended up working that whole summer. That's where I kind of mentioned in another video, I was very prayerful about like, what do I do moving forward next year? Because I didn't know if I was going to move back and go to school. So I hadn't decided at that point, and it was kind of a hard thing for me, because I was like, you know, do I go back? Do I move back? I don't know what this is with this girl. Like, I have feelings, but, you know, how serious is it? Because I'm always thinking wife. So, you know, it's like, is she a wife or is she not a wife? And so I was praying to God, and I guess I'll do a video about this at some point, because I think I did a really bad job about just praying for signs and ignoring actual signs that were present, you know, like biblical commandments in terms of signs. I was just praying for like a sign. And so in doing so, I was really trying to like figure out, is this going to be my wife? Like, is this my wife, God? And I spent the whole summer like just wrestling with that, and it was really, really hard for me. And then I remember like toward the end when I was trying to make a decision of what I was going to do the next year, I actually went and visited her a couple times in the summer. So I went down to San Antonio from Dallas just to go hang out with her for a weekend, like 2 times. And first time, like, she got a little drunk, and like, this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. I was ignoring the signs. Like, looking back, I'm like, if this girl's getting drunk, like, that's not I'm not going to judge anybody here that's drinking, but like in terms of like my wife, I don't want my wife to be like drunk and tripping, and she was kind of tripping like when she was drunk. Like, I don't want that, you know what I mean? That doesn't align with my values, because I don't really drink. And I definitely don't get like hammered, you know what I mean? She got kind of tore up, bro. Anyway, that happened like one time I went down. The second time we had a good time, like it wasn't nothing like that. But so the end of the summer comes, and it's like, okay, what am I going to do the next year? And I had been praying about it, and I remember one day just being in the truck working, and we were driving actually back home, and I was just praying about it and talking to God, like, hey, like, the way I prayed back then is not the way I pray now. So it was very kind of just immature, I guess, and I wasn't really like praying. It was more just kind of like begging and like, God, what do I do? Like, that's what I was doing, instead of like really working out and thinking and talking about anything. I was just kind of like, God, what do I do? And so that's how my prayer life was at that point in time, which is not the best. Like, don't be more mature than I was, if you're gonna be praying. Anyway, I was trying to decide, obviously, what to do. And in praying, I just remember it hit me one day, I'm gonna move back. Like, it just hit me, like it felt like God, And I knew, like, okay, I'm gonna move back. And I had been praying, like, is she my wife, And honestly, like, I thought I got an answer that was yes, but when I look back on it, and I wrestled with this for a long time because I thought it was a yes, but when I looked back on it, I think I was playing more into my own emotions, because I remember writing, and I wrote this down. I was like, I'm moving back to San Antonio, and she is going to be my wife. And when I wrote like how sure I was, I put like 100% on moving back, but I didn't put 100% on her being my wife. I put like 98. Meaning that there was some doubt in my mind still, for whatever reason, that she was going to be that for me, And I think that should have been like a clear sign to me right there that I ignored every sign. Like I said, there's so many flags leading up to it that I just ignored, but that was another one that was kind of like, I wasn't 100% sure. And anytime God has ever told me to do anything, there's never been a doubt, ever. In terms of what I've been told to do, in terms of me being able to do it, there's doubts, because I doubt my own abilities all the time. But the doubt, like, of what I feel, in the spirit, or what God is kind of telling me to do, there's never doubts, because it's always overwhelmingly peaceful. It's always overwhelmingly gentle. Like, there's just never been doubts in that regard. And there's been many moments in my life where I prayed for something, and God has answered, and you just know when it's God. I don't really know how to explain it. It's one of those things that in your relationship with God, you kind of just realize it over time. But so I wasn't 100% sure about her being my wife, right? Which this is kind of something else that pops up in our relationships. I moved back, and immediately, like, I moved back into September, and I get an apartment. My parents was like, oh, we'll help you pay for it. My mom, my stepdad. That's when I got to working at Papa John's. And then me and her immediately just started dating. And for the first like month, it was fantastic, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. It was great. Like, we were so like enamored. It's like that honeymoon kind of lovey-dovey stage where you're just like so infatuated by each other and so enamored with like just who we are, you know what I mean? You're just kind of in that weird lovey-dovey whatever, you're blinded by love stage, and we were in that for like a month. But these things kept popping up. Like, she would get mad about these things. She had a lot of issues, I guess, from what happened with her ex, that she was like projecting that onto me, like, because I would act in some way that triggered something from her past. Like, she didn't deal with a lot of that stuff, so a lot of that stuff popped up, and it was like shocking to me because I wasn't even actually doing anything wrong. It was just like she was just so caught up in like, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, and it was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I remember one time she came over, right, and I was doing dishes, and she walks in, and I was doing dishes, and she walks in, and I hear her, and I'm like washing dishes, whatever, right? She came over all the time. It's not like this was like something like new, brand new, you know what I mean? So she walked in, I'm doing dishes, and you know, I'm like, hey babe, and she's like, hey, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, I was just gonna finish up these dishes. I didn't say this, but I'm like, I'm just gonna finish up these dishes, you know, and then go sit down and chit chat with her, whatever, right? Well, as I'm doing the dishes, and again, this isn't even long, like she walks in, she sat down for like maybe a minute or two, and then she just gets up and walks out, like storms out, bro, slammed the door and everything. I'm like, what the hell? And so then she was gonna, I think she left. She like got in the car and just left. No word spoken, anything, right? I'm like, what the hell? Like, why did you leave? So I'm texting her, hey, why did you leave? Well, I walk in and you didn't even acknowledge me. You didn't even come say hi. I was like, I was just gonna do the last two dishes and come sit down. Like, she gave me no time, no explanation, no nothing. And there was just little moments like that, bro, that just started to build up. And like after that honeymoon phase, bro, it was just that back to back to back to back to back to back. Like, you never plan dates, you never do this, you never do that, you never buy me this, you never pay for my gas, I drive over here every day. Like, and again, I'm young, bro. Like, this is my first relationship, and I'm like 19 at the time, like 19 and 20, bro. Like, that may not sound young, but that's young, bro, especially for your first relationship. She was like 3 years older than me, so, you know, she's supposed to be a little more mature than I am at that point, and I just don't think she was, to be honest. And that's not me trying to like judge her or throw her under the bus. That's just me kind of being honest about it, bro. Like, it just felt like, bro, you're just not mature, bro. Like, it just didn't make sense to me, some of that stuff. That dog barking at me, dog. It just felt very immature, and it was very strange to me, and I had a hard time dealing with stuff because, like I said, I'm a people pleaser, so anything like that, I wasn't mad at her ever. Like, I would never be like, you're being unreasonable or anything. I was never like insulting like that. I was never anything. I always was like very understanding, like, okay, like, my fault, I'll fix it, and I'll do, you know, I'll try to do better next time. It just never worked, though. There was no, because she, like, it was just one of those, she couldn't be pleased, bro. And that's just one of those things, like, I couldn't please her, and it was just like, why am I just endured so much of that, like, not being able to please her, bro. But she was like convinced that I could. It was just one of those things, like, when you're unequally yoked with somebody, you try to like change them into the person you want them to be instead of the person they are, and it's like, no relationship will ever work like that, bro. You have to be able to just love the person for who they are, and you can't expect someone to change. And I went into it expecting her to change, and she went into it expecting me to change, and then we just ended up butting heads for like a whole basically year and a half, and that's why I got so negative toward the end. But along the course of it, like, right, we have good days and bad days, but eventually the bad days are more than the good days, and it's just very rare that we have a good day. We're fighting about things that just are stupid. It's starting to get out of hand to the point that, like, she's blocking me while we fight, and I can't get a hold of her, so I'm like trying to get like fake messaging apps to text her and call her because she's not responding. I mean, just like, I don't even like talking about all that part because it's just so freaking stupid, but it gets like that. She had issues with like my mom because my family was like, her family's like, she was Mexican, right? So her family was very Mexican, and they're very friendly people. I actually loved her family a lot. Her family were very kind, very sweet people. Well, my family's just kind of awkward, and I don't know, like, I'm not here to judge people and judge white people, but I just think white people are pretty, like, I guess depending on where you're from, my family's awkward. That's really what I'm trying to say. My family's awkward. Like, I'm not even really close with a lot of my own family that I would consider myself close to, just because there's just something there where people have a hard time being vulnerable, people have a hard time being honest, people have a hard time opening up. You know, like this kind of conversation I'm even having with y'all, I've never had with a family member apart from my mom, like on my mom's side. So, well, even on my dad's side. So I'm from like a very awkward family who doesn't really share their emotions or anything. She was kind of the opposite. They were very Mexican, and they were very, I don't want to say very Mexican, I don't think that's the right way to say it. They were very Mexican, don't get me wrong, but I really loved that about them, and they were very, very kind people, very loving people. Like her sister, like we used to go over to her sisters, and like we would like eat with them, and they were also Christian. She wasn't actually a Christian, but they were, and they had converted from Catholicism. And like they were just very kind people, dude. Like I still miss the fact that like I never got to, you know, say goodbye to some of them, because I loved her sister so much, Eva, and them. They were so cool. And then she had a cousin that she was really close with. Actually, was her sister's daughter. Like that was her cousin. They were kind of the same age, but she was really cool. So we would go over there and hang out with her a lot of times, and she was really cool. Like I really just got along well with her family, you know. And I remember even one weekend I just went out with her and her mom, and they were doing some shopping, and I was just with them, and she had never done that with a guy before either. So it was like she's introducing me to her family and stuff, so she was like taking it serious. But there was just, like I said, I think she just had so much unsolved things that we just, you know, there just wasn't a lot of maturity present. It was a lot of immaturity and a lot of emotion and not a lot of logic, bro. And I think ultimately in a serious relationship, there's got to be some logic at some point, because at some point you're going to have to be able to just realize, okay, this is not, you know, it's not just about how I feel about this person. Like it has to be logical, bro. It has to make sense to be together. It can't just be like I want to. That dude's on a one wheel. What the hell? So that September to kind of October-ish, maybe even going into November, there's a lot of that honeymoon phase, but a lot of these kind of little issues starting to pop up. From December all the way up until we break up the following December, I mean, it was hell, bro. Like, it was hell. It was just nothing but difficult stuff time and time again. We're just fighting every day, it feels like. We're just having a hard time doing anything. We're just fighting over everything, bro. And I didn't really start fights. That's my thing. And that's why at the end of the day, like, I'm not gonna, there's no reason to point the blame at anybody and go, oh, the relationship fails because of this person or that person. And I'm in no way, shape, or form gonna point the finger at her and say it's her fault. But the reality was, I was trying to keep the peace, bro, and she just wasn't on the same page. Like, she just really was caught up in how she felt, and it, like, if she didn't feel right, she was pissed off about it, bro. And, you know, everything had to suck when she wasn't feeling okay. You know, they say happy wife, happy life. She was kind of living that. Like, she wasn't my wife, but if she wasn't happy, life sucked, bro. That's just the reality of it. And she wasn't happy very often, bro, so life sucked a lot. And it just, like I said, there was a lot of the things I couldn't please her, bro. And so, in not being able to please her, there was just a lot of problems with my self-esteem, because I'm looking going, you know, I'm trying to be the best man I can be for this person. I'm taking her serious, bro, because like I said, at this point in time, I'm thinking this is my wife, whether it makes sense or not. Like I said, there's no logic. I was like, oh, I prayed for this. I feel like God told me this is my wife, so this is my wife. And that's the way I was looking at it, which is totally backwards and wrong, and you should never do that. But that's how it was. Because again, I was inexperienced. I was young. And again, I had no guidance, bro. Like, I don't have anybody at this point in time giving me advice on how to handle this situation or this relationship. Not even my mom was really giving me advice. And I kind of look back, I'm like, my mom probably knows better and should have been able to tell me, like, you know, be straight up with me, but she just, I don't know, whatever reason, maybe she didn't see it, I don't know. She wasn't, though. So my point being, I had nobody in my ear, nobody to help me. You know, her sister and them are trying to help us through some of the stuff that we're dealing with. Every time we go over there, I'm telling them the situation. They're kind of looking at her like, look, you just got to chill out, be easy, take it easy on him, he's trying. She always left feeling like, yeah, I understand and I get it. And then you know, a week, well, not even a week, a couple days have passed, and it's the same thing. It's back to the same old thing. So it was just hard, bro. And I lost myself in it, like I said, because I'm trying to be this version of myself that was pleasing her, and I just was never able to do it. But I lost who I actually was in the midst of it because I'm trying to change, you know. And so coming out of it, it's like all these changes I was trying to make to be who this girl wanted, that I just never even really ever found who I was myself, because at that point in time I was so young. I didn't have like a formulated idea of like, who am I as a person? Like, I've been working on that past this relationship to get to the point of like, who am I, you know? But that's what happened, and I just lost myself, like I said, because, and I never even really found who I was. So I lost myself in the midst of it. Like I said, the relationship goes on. This is where everything gets muddy and blurry. I don't know what happens. I don't remember like any of that stuff, bro. I don't remember, you know, at what point in time are we fighting over what? I don't remember, you know. I really did. The timeline is just blurry at that point. I don't even have a clue. And so what happens is we get to the following December. This is December of 2020. I'm preparing to go on a family trip. I wanted her to come with me. She had a hard time ever doing anything with me or even leaving, because she still lived with her parents, and her dad was like very strict, I guess. I don't really know, because my family's not like that, but apparently her dad was very like, I don't know, still kind of controlled what she did. And that was always the thing. Like, she would always like have to go home. All this stuff, right? She never really came with me. She came to see my family one time, and she had to like lie to them that she was doing something else with a friend or something to even get out of it. At the time, I don't really understand this, because she's 24 and I'm 19, 20 years old living by myself. So I'm like, why are you, you know, I'm living on my own at this age. Why are you still at home and you're asking your dad for permission? I didn't really get it, but you know, I do kind of, like, looking back, it kind of makes sense. So I'm not mad at it, you know, but it just didn't make sense to me. So I kind of got irritated by some stuff like that, because it just felt kind of rude to be like, you know, you always want me to do these things for you, and all I want you to do is just come with me on my family trip to come hang out, and yet you're not even bold enough to try to do that. Anyway, I don't know. I got upset with stuff like that. Not to say I don't understand, because I do understand. But that December, so it gets time for like Christmas time, and my family's gonna go on a trip to, like, I think we're going to Oklahoma, and I wanted her to come with me. And my mom and then we were talking about like planning meals and stuff. My mom was like, you and her can cook a meal, you know, because like I said, she was very like traditionally Mexican. So I'm like, oh, we can make some like good Mexican food, you know, because she could cook, don't get me wrong. So I was like, yeah, we can make a meal. And, you know, I told her, so I tell my girl, I'm like, hey, you know, I volunteered us to make a meal while we're on this trip. You know, is that cool with you? And she was like kind of cool with it. And then I was like, yeah, we just got to make sure, like, I mean, like I said, these fights are just retarded. So there's no point in even kind of trying to figure out what's what with the fights. But this fight was just stupid, because I was like, well, let's, you know, my family can't do spicy. Like I said, they're white people, bro. So I was like, yeah, let's just try to not make it like too spicy. For whatever reason, bro, that pissed her off. Whoa, how am I supposed to not make spicy food? That's how I've always made my food, blah, blah, right? At this time, something happens with her dad. He ends up in the hospital. So again, we have this argument. In the same time, her dad's in the hospital. He had like a tooth infection or something, so his whole face swelled up. They had to take him to the ER and all this stuff. He's an older man, so it was kind of a scary thing for them, I guess. So she has to go do that. Dude, this whole time, she's like fighting with me about every single thing, every single day. Like, I mean, like I said, I can't even really remember. I just remember like how unreal, like we used to fight, right? I was used to fighting with her. But when that happened, and like that with the family trip stuff, for whatever reason, that was like a big deal. Like a lot of pressure, I guess she felt, to please my family or something. That mixed up with her dad being in the hospital, like dude, she was like tripping, bro. I don't know how to explain it. Every little thing pissed her off. So we fought for an entire week an entire week, bro, of just literally art. Like, it didn't stop. Like, usually we would try to fix it before we went to bed. No, there was like I just had to just turn my phone off and be like, okay, I'm not doing this, bro. And we did it for a whole entire week straight, bro, before I just remember when it finally hit me, like, this isn't gonna work. I can't do this anymore. It hit me when I was like thinking about the family trip, and I'm thinking, like, going into the family trip, okay, what happens if she loses her mind and she's trying to fight with me? Because she would fight with me in front of people. She like let me just be clear, like, she pulled up to my work one time and slapped the hell out of me in front of all my coworkers, bro. Just slapped the living shit out of me, bro. Like, the most embarrassing thing ever. Pulled up to my work, and again, these fights are not like you would think, oh, you did something to deserve this, bro. I'm telling you right now, I was not acting so bad that I deserved anything like that. Let me just make that clear, bro, because I would never do that to anybody, no matter what they were doing to me, bro. So for someone to do something like that, bro, I'm sorry, that's just a character move. That's not even about what you really did. And again, I'm not gonna exempt myself from like what I did. I think at that point in time, yeah, I was probably saying things I shouldn't say, and I was probably like doing stuff like that too. I'm not gonna lie. So I probably called her something that I shouldn't have, and that's why she did it. But dude, she pulled up and slapped me, and I know the time she slapped me like that, that time she actually didn't even do that because I called her or anything. She did it because I wasn't answering my phone, because she was trying to fight with me at work, and I was like, I'm not gonna fight you at work. I'm not doing that. And so I just started ignoring her text. So then she just pulled up. And then I go outside. They're like, your girl's outside. I'm like, what the hell, bro? So I go outside. Bro just starts like mollywopping the shit out of me, bro. I'm like, that's the most... Bro, I go back inside and everybody's looking at me like, you good? And I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm good. But it's just so humiliating, bro. But my point being, she would do stuff like that. Like, she had no shame in her game. She would do anything in front of anybody. We fought in stores. She would yell, bro. She didn't have no, like, it didn't matter. Like, if she was pissed off, bro, there was no self-control in terms of like, this isn't the time, this isn't the place, this isn't none of that. There was none of that, bro. So it just, if I pissed her off somewhere, it was just like, game over, bro. Good luck, bro. Because now you got to deal with it at Target. Now you got to deal with it at the mall in front of everybody. Now you got to deal with it like at work, bro. Like, it didn't matter. Like I said, it did not matter, bro. She didn't care. So that's what's happening. So I'm thinking, like, we're fighting this whole week, and we're supposed to go see my family, like, I think it was like in a week or two. And I remember we're fighting, and I finally just sit there and I think, and I go, I was like, okay, well, if we start fighting with my family, what am I supposed to do? Like, how can I handle this? And then it just hit me. Like, while I was sitting there thinking that, I'm like, why would that even be something I'm worried about? Like, does that even make sense? Does that even make sense that I'm sitting here concerned about the fact that I'm gonna have to fight with a girl in front of my entire family? Like, because my family's never had that happen, bro. Like, I've never seen issues with like my family spouses in front of each other. Like, we always will just sweep that shit under the rug and move on and handle that later. But I'm sitting here wondering, like, oh no, like, if she gets pissed off, like, what am I gonna do in front of everybody? Because that's gonna be embarrassing. And so then it just hit me, like, I shouldn't even have to think like that. And that's when I knew, like, that's just when I knew. That was the moment it hit me. I was like, yeah, we can't do this anymore. Like, this doesn't make sense. Like, this is not a wife. Like, that's not what I would want to happen with my wife, you know? And that just kind of woke me up for whatever reason. I don't know why, but that's what woke me up. That's what showed me, like, yeah, I can't do it anymore. I'm not doing this anymore. And I ended up telling her that. Again, she always threatened to break up with me all the time anyway. I never really threatened to leave like that. I didn't really believe in that. I always thought that was messed up. Like, you shouldn't do that as a scare tactic just to get, like, the response you want, or just to get because sometimes, like, if she was trying to fight with me and I'm like, I'm not doing this right now, she would just be like, oh, well, I'm going to leave you, just so I would respond. Like, she would just do stuff like that. But I never believed in any of that. I was like, I'm not doing that, you know? At that point in time when that happened, I told her, I was like, look, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. And she ended up, I told her, I was like, look, I just need some time. Like, you need to leave me alone. Let me kind of, like, I'll talk to you about it eventually, but like not today, not tonight, right? She proceeds to come over to my apartment after I told her, please do not come over, just give me some space. Again, respectfully, I was not being a dick at this point. I was so tired at this point, I just couldn't do it anymore, bro. There's no like cussing anybody out or nothing, bro. I was so done with all that. I was like, I can't fight, bro. I'm not gonna fight with you for a whole entire week, bro. I'm just not gonna do it. And so I was so done. And so I just told her, like, yeah, like I said, don't come over. Just like give me some space so we could talk about it later, right? She comes over. I think it was when she got off work, something like that. I don't know. She came over to my apartment and just knocks on my door, and I don't answer because I'm not answering. I need some space. Like, leave me alone. She stood outside my apartment and knocked on my door for like 2 hours, like an hour or two, bro. I even answered the door and I was like, look, like, I can't do this tonight. Like, I need you to go home. Like, and I'm just begging with her at this point. I just need you to go. Like, I just need you to leave me alone. Like, it wasn't even like like I said, there's no assholey stuff to it, bro. I was just like begging, like, just please, like, I'm so tired, I cannot do it. Like, I couldn't even stand to see her, bro. I did not want to see her. Like, I was just so tired, bro. But she stood and she did all that, and she's like, well, no, I don't want to fight. I don't want to. I'm like, look, I get it, but I can't. Like, I can't. I don't have the energy to even talk to you about it tonight. I didn't even have that, and that was my point. Like, nothing productive was happening that night, even if we, whatever, you know. I was like, I just can't do it. But she just sat there and made it a whole thing. And I'm like, you need to leave. And she's like, I'm not leaving. And I'm like, oh, listen, please, like, just please go, like, please. And then she just, something in her snapped, bro. Like, and then she got that rage all over again. She just snapped on me. You're such a da-da-da-da. And I was just like, nope, you have to go. She's like, I'm not leaving. And it ended. Like, this is literally the last time I ever saw her, bro. I never see her ever again after this night. I end up calling the cops because I'm like, if you're not going to leave, I have to call the police. Like, there's nothing else I can do. I can't have you here tonight. Like, I just can't do it. And she was, I'm not, whatever, right? She's tripping out. And she doesn't leave, so I call the cops, and then she finally walks out when I call the cops, and the lady on the operator stays on the line with me. She's like, well, do you think I need to send someone out? I'm like, I don't know. She's leaving, so it looks like it might be fine. She's like, okay, well, just like, she's like, don't provoke her or anything. I'm trying not to. And she's like cursing me out, screaming on her way to the car and crying and all this other stuff, and that's the end of the relationship. Like, that's it. It was so, the way that the fact that it ended like that and the way it started, bro, to me, that's like, it's the most heartbreaking thing ever to me, bro, because like I said, it was so like, it just felt so genuine at the beginning, like two friends really just getting to know each other, really caring about each other. And it ends with us, bro. What is going on, bro? It ends with like, what is this? What is going on? I'm so good. This is why I start recording, bro. This is like Mardi Gras or something?
Thank you, brother, man, for your patience.
Yes, sir, I understand. Yeah, you're good. Oh, I don't know what that is, bro. Oh, they're trying to give me beads. You want me to whip my titties out, bro? No, I'm just kidding. Oh, that's like the perfect time to like be cheered up, man, because I'm talking about the worst part of the story. Like, it ended with me calling the cops, and I never spoke to her. Like, I almost had, we talked. She tried to like call me on the phone or text me one time. I mean, there was just like, at this point, I was just done. I was so upset that it ended like that, and that she didn't give me the privacy and respect of like, I'll just let you take the time you need, and you'll, you know, we can talk about it. I was so upset with the fact that she couldn't even do that at that point, that I didn't want to talk to her ever again. I was like, no, like, that's so disrespectful to me that you come to my place where I pay rent, because at that time I actually was paying my own rent. I finally got to the point with Papa John's where my parents didn't have to help me with rent. I was actually able to pay rent. I'm like, I'm paying my own bills. I'm actually like becoming a man. I'm a grown man at this point. You can't even you can't even respect that, you know? And like I said, I'm leaving out a lot of stuff, but mind you, I gave her a key to my place. She had moved stuff over there. One time we got in a fight, she literally goes to the apartment while I'm at work to start taking stuff home. So she's basically like in my apartment, taking her stuff. Like, just, I don't even, bro, it's just, I don't even like to really relive some of that stuff, just because I've worked through it at this point, so it's not a problem, but it's just sad. Like, it's just really depressing and sad, because it's like I said, the way it all started, and with how much I really loved and cared about this girl, and to the fact that we just tore, like, it just feels like you were given like something beautiful, and we both ripped it up and just spit on it and just disrespected it and like just ruined it, bro. It's like someone gave you a masterpiece and you just ruined it, and that's how it felt with our relationship. Like, we were given a genuine, loving, caring connection for each other, and we just both contributed to tearing it apart and ruining it and destroying that, man. And it was just terrible, man. It was just terrible. And so that's how it ends. I call the cops. You know, they don't have to show up or anything, luckily, but she goes home, and then we never see each other again. And I didn't see her, so that was in December. We go into the new year not talking or anything. February comes and March comes, and my lease is up at that point. And I'm praying and I'm talking to God, like, what am I doing now? Like, because I just had no reason to stay at that point. I had moved back down for what I thought was her. I dropped out of school at that point, like I said, because I was paying out of pocket and playing basketball, and it just got to the point where I was like playing basketball, trying to work, trying to do school. I couldn't do all three, plus be a boyfriend, bro. It just wasn't possible. I wasn't able to do it, so I quit basketball. And then school became too expensive, so I quit school. And then I just ended up moving back home in March, because oh my God, I know y'all hear that. Bop, 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 bop. Yeah, like, that's what happens. And so then it takes forever for me to actually like get over it. Again, I was the one that broke up with her, just because I don't think she ever would have really broke up with me. And it's kind of just what I realized. I was like, this isn't healthy for the both of us. She was gaining weight. I started balding, bro, and my hair started falling out. And I just realized little things like that. I'm like, bro, this isn't good for us, bro. Like we're tearing each other apart. Whether we can change and do, you know, and not do that, it's just not possible sometimes. Like, when you're not in a situation where you're equally yoked and you're able to get along, you have to just split, bro. Otherwise, you're just going to ruin each other's lives. And it's like we already did. And we cut it off after a year and a half. Had we ever tried to stay any longer, bro, it would have been like, somebody would have been dead or in jail. It was just that bad. Like, I'm not even going to lie to you. Like, it was that bad. Somebody would have died, or somebody would have been in jail. Because there were just things that happened, bro. She pulls a knife on me. Like, I end up hitting her one day because she's like attacking me, like all this stuff, bro. Like it just got ugly is my point, bro. And it was just so depressing, bro. Like, to know like your relationship can turn into that, dude. Like, I saw parts of myself I never want to see. And like I said, I'm not trying to point the finger at her. So the extent and the lowest I ever went, like, I did get verbally abusive and I did put my hands on her one time, but that was because she had hit me first. Like, it was self-defense, don't get me wrong. But that's the extent of what I did, you know, and I am very ashamed of that. And I'm not trying to justify anything like that. That's terrible. And I know moving forward, I have to be honest with my future partner about that and be like, look, this is the lowest I've stooped, just so you know. And I hate to have to admit that, because that makes me feel like shit, don't get me wrong. Because I'm like, dude, that's not who I am at all. But I guess it is what I'm capable of. I didn't know that, but sadly I saw that part of myself. And then, you know, the words I said, I just am very ashamed of the things I said about her. It's just very, 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 disrespectful. I got very disrespectful, very personal, and that's just, I don't know. There's no reason to really go into detail about the evils of it, but it just gets bad like that, my point being. And so it was just toxic, bro, and I had to just cut it off because I realized like it just isn't healthy for either one of us. And so we split, and then it takes forever to come out of it because, man, you go through it. It's just traumatic, bro. It's just traumatic, and it takes years to finally get, like, it took me up until almost, I want to say now, I think like maybe 2 years ago is when I finally got over it. But at this point, it's been 5 years since we've been together, and so it took like 3. It took like 3 years legit for me to work through all of it, bro, to come to peace with everything. I was at war and in turmoil over the whole entire thing for 3 years. Like it would live in my mind, repeat in my mind. I wasn't able to have peace. I felt so ashamed of who I was. It took me forever to just finally get the confidence to know, like, who am I as a person, because I did things, like I said, I scared myself sometimes, like the way I started acting. So I'm like looking at myself like, is this who I am? And I just, like, I'm traumatized by some of the things I did and the person I was, like all that, bro. And that's why I said in the last video, at this point, the last video that I've uploaded, that's why I said in one of the videos that I had to pray for her, because I know the things I did was extremely wrong, bro, and I know that some of that probably hurt her as a person, because I know what she did to me, and I know how much that hurt me. So like I said, I can only imagine what the things I did to her as well. And so we just don't talk, I think she messaged me one time, like maybe a year after, from a random number. I didn't even know this, but I didn't know it at the time. She messaged me from like a random number because I guess she had moved out and got her own apartment. And so she sends me a video. Like, I just get basically I'm working at Amazon, I'm driving, delivering, right? And I get a message from a random number, and it's a video of an apartment, and it says, "Thanks for nothing, asshole." And I was like, what the hell? And I just thought it was like the wrong number. I thought somebody just sent me the wrong, like, I just thought it was the wrong number. Someone just sent me something, right? And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, no, that was her. Like, that was her. And I'm like, what the hell? So I messaged her back, like, why would you even send that? I gave her like the earful, but she had blocked me, so I couldn't even respond. Like, this is what I'm saying, bro. It's just so petty. It's so freaking dumb, bro. But it was so toxic. And I'm honestly, like, I hate to say this, but it really is the truth. Like, that situation and going through that relationship, I want to say it's either on par and I want to say worse, to be honest with you, than when my sister died of cancer. Like, I'm not even kidding you. It was that traumatic. It was that hard to go through. Like, no joke. It was genuinely that difficult for me. And that's with all due respect to my sister, God rest her soul, but like, genuinely, that was up there in difficulty of what to deal with or what to go through. It really was. It's just the truth. Because it's like you spend your whole entire year and a half with somebody, and again, it's a year and a half from when we formally started dating. But at this point in time, we were hanging out and then we were talking all summer, FaceTiming every night, every day, giving each, like, we were friends, bro, good friends. And you go from that, so basically two and a half years with somebody every single day, talking to them, and then it just turns into you never talk to them. Like, in one day, bam, they're gone from your life. You never see them again. You don't even really talk to them ever again, and that's the end. Like, that's what it ends. And like I said, it even now talking about it, it hurts my soul, it hurts my heart, because I'm like, I just hate that you can have a genuine connection with somebody like that, and then it can all end in an instant. Like, it just ends. Like, one day it will come to an end. Like, and there's nothing you can do about it. You don't get a say in it, because you could say, oh, well, you didn't have to break up with her. I did. I did. Otherwise, we were going to destroy each other, bro. Like, the wise thing to do, the smart thing to do was to break up. Like, the best thing to do was to break up. And I knew that. Was it hard? Absolutely, it was hard. But you got to do the right thing, even if it means, like, even if someone else doesn't understand, you have to, I had to have the courage to do it. And honestly, I didn't really I didn't really, but I just knew I had to. I'm like, it has to end. This can't go on like this, you know? And we both can't change for each other, like, you know? That's what happens. And so, like I said, coming out of it is one of the hardest things ever that I've ever had to do. Like, to try to get to the point where, you know, I can even talk about it, to the point of where, okay, I'm not going to cry about it, to the point where I know who I am through it all. Like, just to get through all of it, it takes 3 years. It takes 3 years to get through all that. And again, I'm leaving out, like, some details, right? And I just think I have to, just because I can't go into everything. But it really takes that long for me to heal, and it really takes that long for me to get over it. And the lessons that I've learned from it all, you know, because I've wrestled with God for a long time of like, why even let me go through it? You know, I thought this was my wife and it wasn't. You know, I fought with that, bro. That's why I went back and forth with God for a long time, because that in itself was so hard for me to understand. But like I said, I ignored some of his commandments, and that's really what it is. At the end of the day, he's showing me, like, look, I gave you, well, the signs were there. Like, you just didn't know my word well enough to know not to heed them, you know, things of that nature. But genuinely, will this shoot flames? Oh my God. That's just how it works, bro. And it takes me a long time to get over it. There's a lot of problems I have with God about it, you know, or I did have. I healed from it. But when I say I learned, bro, when I say I learned from it, I definitely learn from it, and I become a better man because of it. As much as I hate to admit that, I do. I become a better man because I go through it. And in my life, sadly, the best way I've had to learn is by either doing the wrong things or having the wrong examples in my life. I always learn from the wrong, you know. Sadly, I'm not wise enough, and never have been wise enough to heed some warnings. Actually, no, there's some aspects of my life I have been able to heed the warnings, but for the most part, I always have to learn from the bad examples. I always have to learn from my own shortcomings, from my own failures, from the consequences of my own actions. Time and time again, that's been my life. And does it hurt to say that? And is it frustrating at times? Absolutely. But honestly, I can say at this point in time in my life, I'm closer with God because of it, and it drives me closer to Him, that my own failures, you know, I have to go to Him when I suck, and then I have to rely on God to help me not suck. And the fact that that's the truth, you know, it strengthens our relationship as hard as it can be. That's really the truth of the matter, is that every time I've sucked, I've been able to go to God, and He's been able to fix it for me, you know, and He's been able to show me, you know what, son, you may not be the best at it, and that's the beautiful thing. God won't tell me I suck. God's not like, you suck and you're just this. He's like, you know what, son, you're human. And you know what, that's just how it works. And sometimes you just have to fail, and it's the failure that I'm there with you as you go through to show you, you know, it's not reliant upon your own strength. I'm here, you know. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not upon your own understanding. And I've had to, like, live that out, you know. I've had to see the consequences of trusting in my own heart in order to know I have to lean not on my own understanding. It's just the truth. And so, yeah, that's my relationship. That's my past. And that's how it happens. And it's hard, it's difficult, it sucks, but it's what happened, and we move on, and we live and we learn. Oh my God, you're just legit, like, turning. Okay. Almost died. I was recording the outro, then I just almost got ran over, bro. All right. That's why you just got to keep your head on a swivel, bud. Anyway, appreciate all you guys for watching. Love y'all. Appreciate the kind words, you know. Subscribe if you haven't. Comment, leave a comment, leave something. I like to read the comments. I like to engage with people, so it's kind of cool. And yeah, leave a like on the video if you like the video on some real life YouTuber-ish. Anyways, appreciate you guys. I'm out. Bye.